All right, everyone, we are introducing and starting the intake wars. And what do I mean by that? If you saw our videos on the exhaust, we were switching out exhausts like socks. We tried out 3 exhausts until we found our perfect exhaust. And that's what we're gonna be doing with the intakes. So I bought this from Right Hand Drive Japan. They communicated well, which is so important in today's world. OMG, like, please communicate. They did a great job. And then the way they packaged it was amazing. It was like a gift. I wish I should have videoed it, but it was like wrapped like a gift. Like, it was brown paper, but it was still like wrapped like a gift. And I tore it apart. It was like Christmas, and it showed up properly well, no dents in the box. This is how you do it. But I didn't find out about these guys myself. My friend told me about them. And you need to go check out his Instagram because he has one of the nicest, cleanest R33 GTRs out there. So if you're a Skyline fan, go show another Skyline fan some love and go follow his page. All right, so let's tell you more about this kit. So everything you see in front of me is the kit, minus some brackets that I hid behind. But you've got the air filters, you've got like the piping, right? And then you've got some bolts and a gasket, and that's it. And the main thing I'm looking for is, of course, better flow and also that suction sound. Oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And what I love is that these air filters are pretty cool. They have some type of science where the arrows go, flow, airflow, turbulence, aerodynamics, the whole, that stuff. But anyways, what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you how to install it. Should be pretty easy. And then we're gonna go for a drive, and I'm pretty much gonna say, wow, amazing, this sounds cool, but we wanna make sure that we definitely could tell the difference. Because if we put this on and I don't hear a difference, I have to be honest with you guys, right? I don't want you to go spend $300 and be like, I didn't hear anything. But if we hear some awesome suction and some cool noises, I'm gonna tell you, you have to go buy this. All right, let's get started. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this thing off right here, and it's called the snorkel, right? And then this comes off, well, bam. For the Roscoff intake modification, I have safety wire, and you aviation guys know all about safety wire. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the safety wire off so I can remove our air filter. Whee! I just love how these little clips held it on there. And we've got this main part. Now, if you have your original air box, it's really simple to remove this stuff. You've got bolts that go right here. And of course, we're gonna take off some additional bolts to get this other part. Okay, we've got 2 bolts down there. I'm using a 10 millimeter. We're gonna remove those. And then we're gonna remove this plug off of our mass airflow sensor. And then we're gonna undo this right here clamp. All right, so we got this clamp loose, and I'm gonna push back on this. And then now we have to get the bottom one loose. And it looks like we could attack it from right here. I'm gonna get the connector off. A little tight fit. You don't wanna push on these connectors, or you wanna make sure you get them off right. All right, so the right thing is to remove this elbow right here. But if you know us car guys, we usually make it harder on ourselves than we have to. I see the clamp right here. I'm gonna try to get an 8 millimeter in here and do it. All right, so it's kind of gotten a little comedic because again, all we have to do is remove this, but I don't wanna do it. So I've got a swivel, I've got an 8, and I've got an extension, and I think I'll be able to get it. Oh, there it goes, it's on there. And look at that, guys, I'm turning it. And now we'll be able to pull it out. So again, if you don't have all these extra tools, just remove the elbow. All right, I got it off. And here it is, guys. We have it off. Oh. So we got to do a couple things. We got to remove this mass airflow sensor. We've got to clean it, and I also got some mass airflow sensor cleaner, so we'll also clean the sensor, and then we got to attach it to one of these things and go from there. So let's get started. So I've got a 10 millimeter, and this shouldn't be on there too tight. We're just going to loosen this up. And then on one side, you're going to need an actual wrench because you can't get a socket on there. All right, here's a 10 millimeter. Oh, nice little noises. I don't like to hear those noises in plastic in my opinion, but we're good to go. So we cleaned the outside of our mass airflow sensor. It was pretty dirty. And then I actually had some mass airflow sensor cleaner and I sprayed it and it was pretty dirty. And I sprayed it in the direction of the flow. That's what you want to do. And now we're going to be connecting it to this elbow and it simply matches up. There's no like a gasket or anything like that. As a matter of fact, there's already like an internal gasket on this thing right here. And then they give us some hardware and it looks like based on the instructions that we read, we're going to be using the 6x16, which is the little ones. And we're going to go ahead and start putting them inside. All right, so we got them in there and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tighten them all down until they're making contact, right? All right, so now we can do our crisscross pattern. And remember, when you're tightening plastic to metal, guess who will win in a fight? Metal. So you don't want to over tighten. Whenever you feel some nice resistance, stop. Nice. I feel some nice resistance and I'm stopping. So this is the tricky part. We're going to have to put the paper gasket on here, right? And then we're going to have to match this up. It's all very tricky and you have to do it all like correctly. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down the filter. I think that's the easiest way to do it. And then try to line up these holes where they go, right? Line up the holes. And boom, here we go. We got the holes lined up. And now we're going to line these holes up. And we want to make sure we do it right. It's all very tricky. Okay, now we've got everything lined up. This is the part that gets tricky is we have a bracket, right? We got to put this bracket on. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this bracket on and we're going to be using the longest bolts that they gave us, like this. And let me use the other one. It's that OCD. And then you're going to finger start them, right? And that's starting. And then we're going to be using 9s for the ones that don't have a bracket, which I believe this one doesn't have a bracket. And the bottom one doesn't have a bracket either. And remember, you don't want to force anything. You want it to just go in there nice and you don't want to tighten it down because you want it to move around so you can get all of them on there. And then we have this bracket and we're going to be putting it, this is the one that we might have to flip around, but we're going to get it all set up. We're going to go ahead and tighten it down. Okay, at this time, I'm going to start finger tightening them, putting them down. I'm going to leave the bracket ones loose so we can make sure that they can move around. And then we're going to go stick this on the car. Let's go do it. All right, this is just going to slide in just like that. And this is where you know if you're doing it right, if it's going to line up with the hole. All right, so it took some finessing, but this is the right way to do it, especially the left one. We're gonna make sure we do that right one good, but at this point in time, I'm just gonna go ahead and lock the 3 down. Not super tight, but just tight enough to make sure that, you know, we don't forget to tighten them down. All right, before we start on the top one, we're gonna go ahead and finish off the bottom one because we don't wanna be able to get to everything. So we're going to reach in here, make sure this goes over this, and then we're going to tighten this bad boy down. All right, I am pushing down on the air filter assembly to make sure that it makes contact with the edge of the hose, and I'm tightening it down. All right, we're on to the next mass airflow sensor, and all we're going to do is we're going to remove it, we're going to do the same cleaning, and then we're going to start putting it back together. So we have the mass airflow sensor cleaned, wiped down, and sprayed, and now we're going to put it on the elbow tube, whatever you call it, and essentially we're putting the top of the mass airflow sensor to go with the APEXi logo, and then let's go. And then we're going to start putting in our bolts, number 8, the little ones. And now that we got them all down, we're going to start slowly tightening them down, and we're going to do it kind of like a wheel. We're going to go in an X pattern, just tighten them down, X pattern until you feel some resistance like we did on the other one. All right, and so I've got the paper gasket down. We're gonna match this up, but remember, it gets a little tricky because we've got some brackets we need to put in. The instructions are a little bit cryptic. I mean, just being honest with you, if you've read them or you see them, you're gonna be like, what? And hopefully this video will make it easier for you. So as you can tell, we've got a lot of angles, we've got a lot of brackets, and I want you guys to see what we did. You see these two brackets right here? We'll start off with this one. If you look at this bracket, it goes down to the body right there, and this is how it goes, so you could see it. And then we have our second bracket, which is right here, and it connects to the secondary air filter, and then you can look at that. So what you have to do is you essentially have to play with it, but you have to make sure that you tighten down the bolts in the bottom before you start tightening everything up, because you won't be able to get to them. So that's important. And then there's one more bracket that actually didn't fit correctly. We're just not going to use it because it's the little bracket that connects this to this, and honestly I think it's perfectly fine without it, but if you want to, you can put the last bracket that's going to connect right here to the bottom of it. All right, let's go for a test drive. All right guys, definitely more suction sound. Are you ready? All right, here, let's slow down a little bit so you guys could hear it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I honestly think the car runs even a little bit better. I don't know if it's because I cleaned the maps, but it sounds really good. Oh yeah, it sounds smooth. This is not my imagination. This sounds incredible. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So we're back, and I'm gonna tell you right away, best modification to date for the price. This blows Roscoe's intake mod thing, and it also blows anything I've done to the car for the price. I mean, the exhaust makes a difference, but this is a game changer. And let me tell you, my buddy, who we put that link in front of the video, he gave me some great advice, and I'm super thankful. Well guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. You stay safe, take care, and if you want to see more GTR videos, check out our playlist. We have a lot. All right, bye.